Hey, this is Dead Gamer. I've been playing around with the ZONE MORTALIS stuff, and especially the tiles with Necromunda. And I found some interesting things, so I kind of wanted to make a little video based on that. And I know some people have asked me about more detailed comparisons of the actual tiles. So I've got my 3D board right here, one of the 4 that you get in the kit. I've also got the weird plasticky. This is the mat that comes in Dark Uprising. It's not paper, or maybe it is, but it doesn't seem like paper. It's pretty trippy. If you can look at the, I don't know, it's got these weird, almost like inkjet dotted kind of surface. There you go. See how it's almost like a canvas? It's this crazy material, but it's not plastic, and I'm afraid to try to rip it. I don't want to test that, but anyway, this stuff, the 3D tiles that you get if you buy that kit, and then the older stuff, I just grabbed one of my Necromunda ones. This is the one that comes in Underhive, the first Necromunda game. Well, the first current Necromunda game, the relaunch of it, not the 90s version. But this is the cardboard tile. So I wanted to do a video sort of showing you guys all 3 of these, because there's a difference. And I was kind of disappointed in, well, not, yeah, I guess I was disappointed with, let's try to get it without the glare, because this will probably be the one I'm going to use for the, boom, look at that. Should I do the shocked face, the clickbait shock face? So, oh my God, I've been reduced to this, right? No, man, this is fun. I'm having a good time talking to you guys too. A lot of people left comments on my last ZONE MORTALIS video, so I figured not only was I doing this for my own good, but I was like, hey, it'd be fun to kind of record this and talk about it, because I found out some cool shit. So without further ado, let's do that. Let's do some comparing and contrasting. First and foremost, the 3D tile and the mat you get in Dark Uprising, the squares are the same size. So if you're curious about that, everything lines up in terms of tile wise. But there's something interesting about this mat. This mat, if you look at it, it folds out 4 times. So it folds like that, and then folds like that, right? And that's basically a 4x4 or 2x2 square. You got this like red zone, like a Mountain Dew Code red action. Then you got the non-Mountain Dew Code red action side. But the interesting thing about this is on the entire border of the entire 2x2, it's half. It's all this half square. So it's not a full square. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this is 6 squares across, right? 6 across, 6 down. And you would think this is 6 across, 6 down, but it's not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. And then you open it up, and it's 5 more and a half. So it makes, these 2 halves make the 6th one, but it's not the same as the layout you would get if you laid these out, because you're only getting half of this on one side, and then the other side's getting a half also. So it's actually a little different if you were doing a side-by-side sort of board setup, because this would have that little half-inch bleed kind of thing. The other thing that makes that interesting is if you flop that down on the thing, see how much smaller it is? You get like 2 sides are smaller, which is real interesting as well. So maybe this thing's smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Oh, maybe it is. I'm full of shit. Yeah, you're shy a square. So this isn't 12. Maybe this isn't shit. See? Totally not rehearsed. I gotta get the wood ruler out. Okay, so the 3D tiles are 12 inches. I guess this mat isn't 12 inches. This is like 11 and a quarter. 11 and a half. Just shy of 11 and a half. So if you want to see that, I don't know if you do. I don't know if you care, but there you go. Right there. So what is that? 11 and Yeah, it's 11 and a quarter. No, it's a little more. Doesn't matter. What? If you care that much, just hit me up and I'll send you the actual 11 and 7/8 or 5/16 or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of crazy that this isn't exactly the same as this in terms of the layout. The other thing I noticed too was that these two are the same in terms of size. So the Necromunda Underhive and the weird plastic new mat you get, it's exactly the same size-wise. So again, it's smaller than this tile. And now that presents a problem that I've kind of explored somewhat to try to find a solution to. So again, this is lined up at where my two fingers are touching the corners, and that's how much gap you've got on the top and on the side. Now, where the differences between this guy and this guy is that these squares are the same as the squares on the 3D tile, but the squares on this are smaller. And that creates a problem because I originally thought that when this came out, I bought extra copies of just the cardboard because I was planning on doing like other space type games, mainly based around Space Hulk, doing little scenarios where there's a little more open areas, sort of like cargo bays, and then using like crates and things to create the hallways for the Space Hulk, but using Space Hulk type rules. I like to make my own shit up a lot, so that's where I was going with that. But being that these squares are smaller, this Zone Mortalis, the 3D stuff, doesn't fit on the defined, like this whole black area. If you're not familiar with these tiles, this whole black area is where these are supposed to be walls. So there's walls right here. You can't pass through any of that. Here's another section. And this little graphic right here is actually the wall blown up. So it's really just a pillar piece, a straight, a pillar piece. And then this is a big old space hole. Space hole. That's funny. So that created a problem. And I got my computer propped up right now. So my laptop, instead of being like this, it's like this. And I've got super high-tech Ziploc bag box holding it up. So I did this so I can kind of bring you down here. Look at that high-techery going on right now, so you could see what I'm talking about. So these little squares are the cubes, which I like to call the pillars or the columns. These actually fit perfectly on the sections where they're supposed to be columns. So if you look there, right, there's your outline, this red. I'll just slide this up towards it, but you could see it lands right up on it. Like there's no overlap. It's kind of hard for me to look at this camera and do this whole thing, but trust me, it's legit, okay? So this goes right up there. So that's cool. That fits nice. It doesn't go over any edges. And I think the main reason it does that is because, again, this one tile in here and one tile in here and across, it has these weird vented floor additions. I gotta keep this away because I'm not keeping it in camera. But where the problem is created is up here. So you start adding these one pieces, and if you look right out of the gate, that first one piece is overlapping that much. And then you add a second one, and bam, now you're overlapping already into your black zone, right? You're supposed to see this whole like 45 and then the drop down. Well, that's now hidden underneath there. So then you try to stick a column in there. Boom. And look how much over the board you're hanging. Like, that's a considerable amount that you're coming over. So it actually kind of screws you. It doesn't, this 3D stuff does not work with this new cardboard stuff. But I poked around some more because I'm persistent, and that's what I do. And I found out that if you have a situation like this, and I haven't tried this with everything with all my Necromunda tiles from the Underhive. But I found that if you find the piece that doesn't have an end cap, so we'll call these end caps because this is stops it, right? It's capped off, and this one continues and is capped off. This is not an end cap because it goes off the board to more pieces. So if you find where the piece that's not an end cap and you slap that on there, well, instead of doing 2 of these and 1 of those end caps, because these end caps are bigger, just use a 3rd straight piece, and I shit you not. Let me roll this around, get it so it's covering all the black ink and stuff. So there it is here, right? We're right up where I'm supposed to be. I'll slide it back so you can see it. We're hanging over the black part. We're kosher. Following along, boom. Look where that ends up. Right on the line. So yes, it's covering the end cap piece, and you're going to have a little bit of graphic overhang. If you see down here, you got that little red line, but it at least covers it. And right here, you go boom, and you're golden, and it sits in there perfectly. So that was pretty sweet. That kind of reinvigorated me because I was a little disappointed and upset. And same thing on this side. So it looks a little more complicated because it's got 2 end caps and a straight piece, but it works the same way. You drop this guy here because that's not your end cap. Then you put your 3 pieces. I'll just do a 2 and a 1. And then you do your 3 pieces, 2, 3, and then let me grab one more. The last one, boom, right there. Why is that overhanging? Oh, it's going to hang off just a little bit. So there you go. Like, actually works. So the only difference with using your zone, I'm going to bring you guys back up. I got to find my fancy, there's my Ziploc box. Ziploc box, going back under there. Perfect. So the only difference you're going to have is instead of having those columns on these end caps, you have to just keep straights there. And like I said, I haven't put a whole board together to see if there's any other issues that come about when you're doing this. But I was pretty excited that that's kind of what's happening. And also another cool thing, you put these down, right? I should probably go back to Ziploc mode. Let me do that. Sorry, everybody, for the shakiness. Got to move the spot up. Fuck. Okay. So then you got this kid, right? Well, I'm going to talk about this door piece in the actual Zone Mortalis terrain thing. But instead of doing your 3 columns right here, right, you could actually create more flexibility by dropping in this door right there. And now, whereas before that wasn't ever a doorway, well, you pull the door out and it covers that ink, right? It covers the whole black part. And now it creates a brand new kind of tile because it gives you this new option where you never would have been able to go through there before. Because if you were playing with no 3D terrain, you know, there's nothing there that says that's a door. But when you're bringing in the 3D terrain and you're using this kind of stuff, throwing that in because it has this floor plate, it actually just kind of smoothly, and you could put that anywhere you want. And you could also do that with the bigger door, right? This big old this 2 wide blast door thing. You can create these brand new sort of alleys and new access points for your boards. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty sweet. And I'm pretty stoked. So I sort of lost, I was a little upset at first, but then I was persistent and I was messing with it some more. And it's like, I'm not going to give up on these because I bought some extra ones and I really, really like them. I mean, these boards are pretty sweet. So I also like the new mat. I mean, this new one here is kind of cool. it's super thin. I mean, it's just like, probably like, if you know anything about paper, it's probably like 80 pound paper. It's not that thick. It's like almost like your standard, but it's just this weird plasticky kind of, I don't know what the hell it is, but it's kind of neat. So yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to cover with the tile interaction. Oh, Space Hulk. Since we were talking about it, I got some Space Hulk tiles. Now these are second edition ones. They were just the ones I found. I've got all the editions, first edition, second, third and fourth are the same, just fourth had extra tiles that third didn't. But in terms of the measurements and everything, they're all the same. So if you're curious about that, Space Hulk tiles were 1x1 squares, and these Necromunda tiles are bigger than that. So it's not really that compatible in terms of, you know, crossing them over. But I just pulled them out, you know, just in case you don't have any of this stuff and you're just starting to brainstorm what you want to do. You could see these tiles are, I don't know how easy it is for you to see, but these are 1x1 squares. And let's line it up right here. So I'm lining it up along here, right? And you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and here you got 1, 2, 3, 4 would be down here. So there's a considerable difference. So they're not really, you're gonna have a real hard time trying to make that transfer. But there's some pretty ingenious people out there, so I'm not gonna say you can't do it. It's just gonna be more difficult than my mind can comprehend. So, but if you figure something out, I'd be interested in knowing what you did, because that'd be kind of cool. So I guess that's it. Once again, I'm doing a bunch of videos based on all this Zone Mortalis stuff, because I've been getting some good feedback, and people are asking me questions about it. And I've got like all these Games Workshop sets that I've pulled out, and I want to do these comparisons and contrasts and stuff. And I actually started doing, I was going to do just one long video, but I didn't have my computer plugged in. And I was 50-something minutes into it, and I hadn't even finished just the Zone Mortalis stuff, and I was going to go on and do a bunch of other things, and the battery died. And I was like, damn it. Then I thought, you know what, maybe I should just make these shorter clips, because then people don't have to like sift through all the crap that they don't really care about, and they could just click on the one that they want to know about. So that's kind of my train of thought. So all right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed this. And once I get all these up on the internet, I'm going to try to put them all in like a playlist folder. So if you want to listen to all of them, you can just hit play. That's awesome. So you guys rock, and Zone Mortalis! Yeah, buddy.